And welcome on into the afternoon show. It's Brodes and Devan Kaney with you. All right, we are going to start today's show with the Washington Commanders and your Philadelphia Eagles, because the Commanders are working on Von Miller and making more moves because they want to try and close the gap. Well, I got to be honest with everyone. I don't respect the Commanders at all. It's so hard to do it year after year after year. They're dealing with Terry McLaurin and that contract dispute. And I don't know if their environment is strong enough to work through that type of adversity. And I've seen C.J. Stroud, who I think is a very good quarterback, go through a sophomore slump. And if you say, well, maybe some skill position guys were injured and that played a role, well, that happens. And you got to be able to manage that and perform without it. And it's a very difficult thing to do. And I don't think the Commanders are some sharp, great organization that I now have to fully believe in to take over the NFC East crown. And quite frankly, one thing that pisses me off the more and more I think about it is we keep saying they were in the NFC Championship game, giving them respect. They lost by 8,000. They weren't even close. So, Devin, I'm just telling you, I don't respect the Commanders. I think the Eagles are going to kick ass as they always do. And they're not close. The Commanders are not close. They got blown out. They're not close to the Eagles. Your thoughts?
So you're gonna make me have to defend the Commanders, and I don't want to defend them because I agree. The Eagles beat them by $5 million in the NFC Championship game, and it was amazing. And I do think that far too many people, especially here in Philadelphia, give Jaden Daniels far too much respect, like ranking him above Jalen Hurts on lists, and I hate that, and I don't support that. That being said, they're in division. They, even without Jaden Daniels and, the previous years, even when they had, what was his name, Taylor Heineke or whatever, they gave the Eagles their first loss in the 2022 season when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. Like, they're in division, so they're always going to give the Eagles some trouble. But that being said, I think you can say the same for the Cowboys and Giants. Like, any NFC East opponent is going to be a tough opponent. I'm not scared of the Commanders in any way. Like, them adding Von Miller doesn't really do much for me. They already have like a top, or I guess I should say bottom 5 oldest roster in the NFL, and he just made it older. Like, he was drafted in 2011? I don't even know how old he is at this point. They got Deebo Samuels. Oh, wow. I'm really freaked out by that.
He doesn't scare me
how are we
a
going to
lick.
stop him?
Yep.
That being said, Eagles have a tough schedule. They have a really tough schedule, and they don't play the Commanders until deep into the season. Lots of things can change. I'm just not ready to write off the Washington Commanders yet.
Oh, I am, because the Eagles are that great. I'm just being honest with you. It has nothing to do with the Commanders. The Commanders could try and do everything they want, but it's not going to stop me from believing that much in what this Eagles franchise is. So they could try to make cute moves and shore up their offensive line and whatever they want to try and do. But it is never going to be better than what Jalen Hurts and this offensive line and what Vic Fangio has to offer for this upcoming campaign. And that's another thing the Commanders have to deal with, is the knowledge from all these other coordinators on what was effective last season for Jaden Daniels. Now there's a whole offseason of going to the tape and studying what was working. Remember, Jalen Hurts couldn't go to his left. Todd Bowles put it on tape. Then Jalen Hurts had to effectively get better at that skill set. Jaden Daniels is going to have to do the same thing. And I don't know if he's just going to automatically step on this field and be this dynamic weapon that everybody feels he's going to be. I don't feel that confident when looking at Jaden Daniels thinking that's that guy.
I also think you have to look back at last season with the Commanders because, yes, they improved. So the previous year in 2023, the Commanders only won 4 games. And I think that recency bias is certainly at play here. I also think recency bias is at play, Brodes, respectfully, with your overconfidence.
No such thing.
The Eagles won the Super Bowl. They're a great team. Like, that, can't debate that. And they didn't lose too many pieces. I think they're still going to be a really good team. Their schedule freaks me out a little bit. That being said, Commanders also have a fairly tough schedule. The Commanders jumped to what? They won 12 games in 2024. That's a massive leap, going from 4 wins to 12 wins. I just don't think that that's sustainable. And you look at a lot of their wins last season, it was luck, right? It was luck when they played the Bears. Remember that Hail Mary, which, by the way, if I was a Bears fan, I would simply never recover from that. I would still have PTSD from that, maybe for the rest of my life. They got away with a lot of wins. So I don't know if they're, going to be this great, ominous team. They're a team that you have to take seriously, though. I just don't want the Eagles and Eagles fans to take on the mindset of, well, we won the Super Bowl, so whatever. We're just going to roll over the Cowboys. We're going to roll over the Commanders. We're going to roll over the Giants. When you have to look around and do I think that the Commanders got exponentially better? No. I think, honestly, if you look at the NFC East, the Giants probably made the most impactful additions. I don't think the Giants can be a good team, but they'll probably be less of a joke than they have been. But the Commanders still added talent, albeit older talent in Von Miller, Deebo Samuel, Tunsil, list goes on. So could they be a better team than the 12 wins last year? Maybe. They're a team that you have to take seriously and you have to prepare for accordingly. I just don't want the Eagles to write them off whatever. They're a joke. We beat them by 500 in the NFC Championship game. Doesn't matter. We're going to do it again.
They won't do that. I will. There's a big difference. Jalen Hurts isn't going to attack it the way I attack. I attack it like they're bums. Get them out of my face. They're not even close to the Eagles. But that's not how Sirianni's going to attack their business. So don't worry about them. They'll do what they need to do. I'm just telling you how I feel. I look at the Commanders and I say, go scratch. Get out of my face.
You're setting yourself up for heartbreak.
No. See, I don't have heartbreak when it comes to this Eagles squad under Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
Because all I get is winning football. Let's take a listen to Austin Eckler, okay? Because he was discussing the difference between the Eagles and Commanders, and this is what he had to say in June.
Last year, there was a gap because they won the Super Bowl between them and everybody, but I don't think there is no gap. There's no gaps right now. The gap is neutral because, and here's why I say that. Look at our team last year. Look at the Washington Commanders at the very beginning of the season. Everyone would say there's a massive gap between the Commanders and this team. Well, you look back on the season, you're like, oh, maybe there wasn't. They were actually pretty good. So this gap talk, what do you mean? We could go out there and win 0 games. We could win 17 games, so we don't know. It's a fresh, new, clean slate.
I got nothing for you on that. It's a bunch of BS. What did you get out of that? Because you clearly, I think, got sucked right into what he was saying.
No.
You're going, wow, Austin Eckler's a genius.
You're setting me up for failure here because, I feel like you're putting me in position to support the Commanders, and I don't like it.
You respect them more than I do.
I think what Austin Eckler just said is absurd, though. And what it immediately reminded me of, not to drag another WIP host, was Joe DeCamara last week started saying that the Eagles they're not champions anymore because, essentially he's saying, once you hit the next season, you're not champion. As far as I'm concerned, the Eagles are Super Bowl champions until there's a new Super Bowl champion, and hopefully it's the Eagles again. They're reigning champions, and I think someone needs to tell Austin Eckler that, because the way he's looking at it is, slate, whatever he said, clean slate, we're on even playing fields now. And I just don't think that's the case. When you're the reigning champions, it almost puts you in a disadvantage because everyone wants to take you down even more, because you can say you took down the reigning champion Super Bowl.
And I like that you said that, because I agree that it puts a target on your back. But I think the Eagles have the ability to work through the target on their back, while the Commanders, they have to prove to me they know how. And I know they're not champions, but they did get to the NFC title game. So teams will look at the Commanders now differently, and they need to know how to win as an NFC title type of team. And I don't think that franchise has ever sold me in my lifetime sustainable winning enough for me to go, that's right.
Sustainable, sustainable winning. No, what?
Don't be okay.
What were your thoughts and opinions on the Commanders going into the NFC Championship game when they beat the Lions?
Yeah.
And we all thought that the Eagles were going to be traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions in that game. Mm-hmm. When the Commanders beat the Lions and we're coming here, how were you feeling the week leading up to that game?
Ass kicking.
Were you?
Ass kicking.
Okay.
Ass kicking. That's what I thought.
How were you feeling the week after they beat the Eagles when Jalen Hurts went out with a concussion?
It took our backup quarterback having to go in. You don't win when our quarterback's in. Our quarterback is a winner. That's what he does.
At no point last season were you like, oh, the Commanders are...
No! I got the best football team on planet Earth!
But you didn't know that that last
No, I
season.
knew. I smelled it a mile away. I mean, are you kidding me? I walk into this studio and I go, that smells like an Eagles victory. And then I sit here and I tell you how I feel. 215-592-9494. Okay, here's our question. As Devin is outrageously a Commanders fan today.
No, I'm not. You know what? The last time I don't think we've hosted together since like around Christmas time last year. And I think it was then when you tried to paint me as a Cowboys fan. You're just setting me up for failure here, Brodes.
Well,
I am neither.
Here's the thing. At that particular time, my guess was you were upset and thought maybe the Cowboys could win, and I was probably screaming my head off saying the Eagles are going to go dominate.
I don't remember exactly what was happening. I never said that the Cowboys were going to win, though, especially last season.
True.
I will say that.
You're right. I guess you're probably right.